Surprise! We got a paper that's really got some interesting stuff in it this week. I mean, look at this John Skelton story here. It's an old photo because, as you learned last week, I was the only guy who showed up last court session. John wasn't there. This is interesting because maybe you've thought of it yourself. Suppose he gets his 1 year in prison for parental kidnapping, and then he's out again. That doesn't sit well with everybody. But now there's new charges. Just plain old kidnapping, and that could be a life sentence times 3. Now there's something interesting. The old Main Street Bridge on the east side of Morenci. Some deterioration of the beams. There's washing out around the bottom there. Eventually that's going to be closed if it's not replaced. And I think what that's going to do to traffic in town. Well, this is interesting. Mrs. Letty had to use an old column again. I think. I didn't have a chance to read it. Yeah, that's an old one. It's a good one, but it's an old one. Well, this is interesting. I had a date at the cemetery Sunday. It doesn't happen just any day. There's going to be a new phone coming to the police station outside. In case you got to make it. In case I'm too tired to talk. If I could do this job, not this job, the addressing job with my eyes closed, I would have done it tonight. I have great fatigue. Well, this is interesting. In Fayette, they seek proposals to run the concession stand at the park. Whatever group has the best offer, I guess they take it. Well, there is something interesting. Somebody from Fayette, actually a Morenci native, I think, Kim Curry, wrote a little letter about depression and how you ought to get some help if you're suffering. Well, look at this. This is interesting. Fayette bologna. It was a very popular food item back in the 50s, maybe 40s and 50s. Next week? No, I think it's 2 weeks. It's, I don't know. It better be in there somewhere, the date. Oh, those clowns. Meaning myself. I think it's 2 weeks away. 2 Tuesdays. Oh boy. Always something. That's interesting. Well, here we have something interesting. The state of Michigan, composed of these little drawings, not drawings, creations, following the work of, what's his name? You know, Mr. Carl. I can't read upside down very well. It's not upside down exactly. Eric Carle. Too tired. I'm not even bothering. Yeah, this is interesting. Taylor Griffith, 7th grader in Fayette. She's the state champion in the Elks free throw shooting contest. Worked her way up the state level, and at the state she hit 24 of 25 attempts. Excellent. A little weather story. It's not so interesting. That's not so interesting. I was at that game. Sad night for Fayette's girls team. On the other hand, very good night for the boys in Morenci who beat Lenawee Christian. Always fun to beat them. Hey, we'll keep it going. Then the girls beat Lenawee Christian the next night. Well, that's interesting. Lenny Simpkins is still making models. This time he did his grandfather's house, old farmhouse. Well, that's interesting, don't you think? Library's got a speaker coming. Mr. Leto, a Finn from the Upper Peninsula. Steve Leto, he's going to talk about his book that was written about the Chrysler Turbine. If you're as old as I am, you might remember that back in the 60s. It's one of those cars, sort of like the electric car. They made it, tested it, got great results, great reviews, and they collected them all and crumbled them up and burned them. And that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go crash and burn myself.